So this is going to be the first video on my new channel, Story Themes and Things. So basically, it's what it sounds like. We're going to be reviewing stories and their themes. First, a little background about myself. So my name is Jason, and I've only read a lot of nonfiction. So I've been kind of, over the last 5 years, reading a bunch of nonfiction, not a lot of fiction. I don't know why. I just never gave it a chance for whatever reason. So, but we're going to change all that because about halfway through last year, I started reading fiction. So, namely, Stephen King's Fairy Tale. I saw this at CVS and I read the back and I was like, oh, this seems pretty interesting. I was kind of wrong. It was alright. It's okay book. I got through it. Wouldn't recommend it, but it was good enough for me to want to keep exploring the world of Stephen King, which I did, and I landed upon Needful Things, and this is a much better book. I really, really, really enjoyed this book, and it's a big back too. Look at that. And I stormed through this book in 2.5 weeks or so, or something like that. I really liked this book. It's a good book. So this is gonna be the kind of the formula. I'm gonna read a book once a month, about once a month, and if I like it and I like the themes of the book that I read, then I'll talk about it. So, okay, so this book. So first of all, this is a quick synopsis of the book. So it's pretty much about what takes place in a small town in Maine, Castle Rock, Maine. Which I found out that Stephen King is from Maine, I think. But anyways, so Castle Rock, Maine, and there's a guy, his name is Leland Gaunt. He opens a store in the town, and mysteriously, somehow, when you go to the store, there's always something that you want to buy. It's like he knows what you want. Like he knows what you want. But instead of using cash to buy the item, you do favors for him. Little pranks around town, right? So here's, it's gonna be a lot of spoilers coming up. So that's the synopsis. Now, what do I like about the book? The pacing. I love the pacing of this book. It says that it's fast paced on the back, actually, but it does it like in an interesting way that I didn't expect, because the plot doesn't really kick in until halfway through the book. Really, the first half of the book is about half of the book is just building the characters, which I'm all about. Like, that's to me what story is about, is characters that you actually care about. So you build empathy with them. So you're rooting for them or against them, but either way you understand them. So when things go bad for them, you care. But that's what it focuses on, is development of the characters. And there's a bunch of characters in here, actually. It's a whole lot of characters. But all of the characters that are really the main characters of the story, you really understand them and you care about their background and what they're going through. And another thing I really, really, really like about this book is the antagonist, the villain, Leland Gaunt. So he's a store owner, right? He's definitely a villain. He's definitely the antagonist. And he's a really good one because he's very wise. He's got a lot of wisdom. He says, when he's speaking to characters in the story, you could tell that he really understands human nature, and he's using it to his advantage, right, to get what he wants and destroy this town in the process. So he's very, very wise, and he's very charismatic. He really takes command of the conversation, and when he's speaking, there's so much implied information, like when he's speaking to characters. He's very mysterious. Like, you really don't know what this guy is, who he is, until the very end. Even then, you really still kind of don't know. And he's insane. The dude is crazy, you know? So it's just really, he definitely keeps your attention. He steals this whole novel, for sure. So the themes of the book. So when I say themes, these are things that I think about, like not necessarily what I went online and read, like what people are saying about this book thematically, or what Stephen King wanted the reader to take away. Is just my personal This is what I think about when I read the book. So first of all, before I get into the themes, the themes connect to, I have to kind of spoil the story in a sense. But so basically, what he's doing is, Leland, he's giving you this object. Well, he's not giving to you, but he's trading the object for your soul, your life force, basically. They don't know that, but that's what's happening. So essentially, the objects that you get from this store. So a kid got a baseball card, a lady got a pair of glasses. One of the characters got a fishing pole, right? And all these things that they truly desire, that they think are gonna make them content, happy. But in reality, it's all an illusion. Like, for example, the baseball card. There's a kid who wanted a Sandy Koufax baseball card, but it wasn't really Sandy Koufax. It was just some random player. But he creates the illusion, so you think you're getting what you want, right? And then, the longer you have the object in your possession, he's draining your soul and your life force, right? And it's kind of, to me, like an analogy for like consumerism, and how, if a lot of times, if you're not content with yourself, you can have the urge to buy things and get things and want things and think that's going to make you content, but it's not really making you content. It's just making you weaker and more attached to that item, because your mood and your happiness is attached to materials, right? Because you're not really at peace with yourself, right? And that's sort of what he's doing to these characters. And it also touches on desire and the cost of desire. Nothing is free. Everything has a cost. In this case, it's your life force and your soul, and maybe your life. So, I mean, it's pretty extreme, right? Obviously. And the antagonist, Leland Gaunt, he's definitely not playing fair. I mean, the dude is magical, and he has persuasive abilities. But then on the other hand, none of this is possible without the character's desire, an attachment, an unhealthy attachment to these objects. In fact, these objects make them sick eventually, because their soul, their life force is being drained. But I think it's more like an analogy for, if you're too materialistic, then these objects take away from you. They don't add to you, because you need them to be content. And furthermore, I think it also kind of, to me, I think about how we give value to objects. It's not the other way around. So like the baseball card, the character Brian, who got the card, he's a Sandy Koufax fan, so he wants the card. But really, he's giving the card value, not necessarily. It's not the other way around, right? And because he did that, he's kind of giving his control to this object, which is ultimately controlled by Leland Gaunt. So ultimately, he's controlled by him, right? So, yeah. So he's using their attachment to control them. And I think that's really interesting. And there's a line in the book that really shows that he understands human nature. There's a lot of lines, but one in particular says, logic often has little to do with the way people behave. I mean, there's a lot of truth to that, right? There's a lot, I mean, for all of us. Some of us are just more aware than others and can manage it better than others, but that's very true. And he's using this against the characters, citizens of Castle Rock. Love this book. Really good book. Love the themes of it. Highly recommend it, even though I just spoiled the book. But anyway, it's more of a discussion for people that have read the book, really, and just to share your thoughts. And I want to hear what you guys have to say. Like, what was your takeaways from the book? And my next book is going to be Toni Morrison's Jazz, which is very different from this. That was like an online recommendation. It's like a historical fiction book, very different. And if I like the book and I like the themes, then I'll talk about the themes. So thank you guys for taking time to watch, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. All right.